Yes, it's back by popular demand. Last week we took on the biggest screens in the game. Now we're going to be talking about the biggest player in the game. Stick with me here, Hutchie. Let me get to the end and then tell me I'm crazy. But I've got an idea. We've been talking about this man for a while, and I know that I've been saying that he may not be at Richmond next year. I still maintain that. We don't know if he's going to play for Richmond again, given the re-emergence of his hamstring injury. But we always seem to be talking about only one other club, and that is the Sydney Swans. And I don't know why we're not talking about this club. Because the Gold Coast Suns should be throwing the absolute kitchen sink at Dustin Martin. It makes complete sense, and I'll explain why. He's attached to Sydney, the city, but he's attached to more people on a personal note at the Gold Coast Suns. A close friend, some would even say a confidant, Wayne Campbell, former Richmond captain, is up there as the head of football. Craig Cameron is the list manager. He was the man that drafted Dustin Martin when he was head of football of the Richmond Football Club, and one of his close friends, a multiple premiership teammate. They've remained close. Brandon Ellis defected from the Tigers to the Suns back in 2019. So he already knows a lot of people there. He's an expensive prodigy, we know that. $1.3 million is what he is on next year. He's also on that for 2024. He's got 2 years left of this mega deal. But if you were to spread it out and offer him much less in the final years, you give him a 4-year deal, it ends up being just under $4 million, 4 years. You're getting Dustin Martin, the best player the game has ever seen, for less than $1 million a year. So the price makes sense if you're willing to extend it out. You get the player, but you also get the effects that he has on these young Suns coming through. Imagine what it does for an Anderson. Imagine what it does for a Rao. A couple of years with Dusty in the same midfield, and then he gets to finish his career at full forward alongside Ben King, helping out Isaac Rankin, helping out his former teammate in Marvior Chol. I don't know why we're only talking about the Sydney Swans. We should be talking about the Gold Coast Suns. They have been irrelevant for way too long. The AFL can help out with a little bit of money on the side. It makes complete sense.
Are they interested?
I don't know.
Are Gold Coast interested?
I don't know. This is just.
I know it's an opinion, but you wouldn't come up with an opinion if there wasn't some substance behind it, which you've just explained there. You've thought deeply about it. Do you think Gold Coast are interested?
You'd have to ask them. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Well argued, very good. Very good. But the thing about the Sydney Swans and Geelong, they are amazing at getting in early and make players. They probably get a players a year beforehand. So that's the thing about it. Unless the Suns have done their work, it looks good on paper, but unless they're into him and have been into him for a number of time, they won't get it. It'll be Sydney or Geelong and those type of clubs that land big-time players.
Another loss for the Suns on the weekend, so they've regressed since Stuart Dew re-signed. Isaac Rankin is an issue for Dew, and he intends to take it up with headquarters.
Just going to have to get some clarity from how he's getting played at stoppages. That, to my eye, I think Isaac's looking at the ball. Just need to get clarity on how he's defended, and is that if that's open slather, then we can work out what we're dealing with, and we can talk to Sean Lemons and those type of guys to defend stoppages similar.
So this is some of these complaints about the treatment of Isaac Rankin. But, I mean, is he part of the problem here, Stuart Dew, to call it bluntly? He doesn't play him in any other role, really, other than that small forward role. Have you thought about putting him down in a reality style of a halfback flank or
has he
on a wing?
Has he worked hard enough to do that? Has he been busting down Stuart Dew's door? Has he been up at the top of the time trials to play midfield minutes in the pre-season? Has he been working as hard as he possibly can? Why do we always give these players an out, these talented players?
He's a halfback flanker dying to happen, though.
The onus back up. But you move him again, Hutchie. 2 weeks ago, he was the best small forward in the game. Well, you were raving about it.
But I just change him up a bit when it's not going
That's disruptive. I think we've got to put the onus back on the player to work harder rather than continually giving these highly talented youngsters an excuse.
What's your view, though, on the tactic?
There was a couple there that should have been a free kick, but, I mean, that's 1 or 2 touches per game, so then they will adjust. But I think the onus mostly needs to go on to Isaac, because too many games, he goes missing.
What I'll also say is when you start having breakout games, they do come after you, and teams study you, and the good players get through it and thrive, the others get challenged, and that's what he's just got to get through. When you started tagging blokes, I'm sure they tried different things, players started smashing you, and you just got to work through it, don't you?
Yeah, 100. You've got to work harder, and clearly the last 2 weeks he hasn't worked hard enough, and that's the result you get.